we're gonna have people who are 60 years. With BYU gonna have 30-year-olds. But
For real.
but like
they're really just speaking of that, like stopping sporting events like right in the middle. We saw like the Big East like conference play being stopped like at halftime, and that almost happened to the indoor NCAA championships right before like the races were gonna begin. Like the day before, they saw their winter season canceled by the NCAA, bro. Did you think that was fair for the athletes to be like, they were in Albuquerque, New Mexico, they were like training, they were going through drills, and then to say the meet's off, go home?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking because we were hearing reports going into it that they weren't gonna have any audience, any fans. It was just gonna be like family members and teammates. And I mean, in all honesty, in my opinion, I think they should have ran. I think that, you're already there. At that point, just do the meet, get it over with, and get to your social distancing.
Yeah.
But I think at that point, it was just so many things had canceled that they just had to follow suit to cover themselves. But I don't know. Was it fair? I mean, life isn't fair,
True.
True. Was it necessary? I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think they should have raced. I would have just had them race because you're already there. I mean, it's a couple days though, which is the biggest problem. It is a couple days, I believe, right? It's like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, I think 2 days. 2 or 3.
I would have just had them race because that's very heartbreaking for any senior. Or I mean, I myself, like my senior year at Azusa Pacific, wearing on my chest, I missed nationals by 1 spot. Now, let's say I made nationals that year on the other end by 1 spot, and they canceled it.
Yeah,
that's heartbreaking, bro.
Hurt. That definitely have to see, like, that would have to hurt like a lot. But I feel like the NCAA, like you were saying, like they were really pressured into these decisions. They had to like go for it, like when the NBA set that precedent, and seeing like the NFL, NHL, all of this stuff canceling, they really just had to. And you already know the NCAA gets bad reps at time, so they really just need to really keep on pushing this forward of just like canceling things going forward. And then talking about canceling for NCAA, they also went out to say the spring season is just canceled right off the bat, right then and there, even before the spring season even really started. And now the real talk about that is really just the grant eligibility at the college level, at the collegiate level. And then what is your really just take on that? We see that the NCAA D2 has came out and said that they're trying to grant that eligibility to all seniors, but then to everybody else that wasn't a senior, it's going to be more of like a red shirt season. It's going to be something that's institution. It's going to have to grant to them. D1 hasn't really came out and said how they're going to really deal with that going forward. Alright, sorry for interruption real quick, but basically we didn't film this before the decision came out that NCAA Division I officially granted that extra year eligibility to all student athletes in the spring semester who play that spring sport. We also want to mention, with the NCAA granting that extra year eligibility, they're also granting extra roster spots and more scholarships for those athletes that are returning for those more years, and how there's going to be more years because of this coronavirus pandemic. And if you guys want to learn more about this, we're going to leave some links down below to ESPN and NCAA itself that really just talks about this extra year eligibility. It's really just an interesting topic, and I hope you guys stay for the rest of the video as we give our 2 cents on everything. But how do you just think how this eligibility is going to work out going forward for everyone?
Hearing about that spring season getting canceled, that was like a punch to the stomach, I'm sure, for every athlete out there. That's when it really became real for everyone, I would say. But this eligibility thing is interesting because think about it like this. If we, like D2, if D1 follows suit with that same analogy that everyone could do it, what we're going to see is a new era of athletes, like the coronavirus athlete. Because people immediately, when they think about getting extra years, you think about the seniors. Like, oh, we're going to have 6 years. And like we're going to have people who are 60 years. With BYU going to have 30-year-olds. But
For real.
There
could be really grown men out there racing, bro.
Hey, but in all seriousness, but like what I was telling you, what I was telling you earlier. Like if you're a 5th year senior, or maybe you're just in there 4 years, you're trying to get out. I mean, not as many people are gonna stay as you think as we're thinking if you're a senior, because I mean, those guys that are really good, they're just gonna go pro. The guys that are borderline, maybe they don't want to go to school. Maybe they have a good job lined up. You know, track athletes and cross country athletes, they're really smart people, so they make a move
or something.
Yes, exactly. But if you're getting a master's, it's good. But what I'm saying with like how it's gonna be a new era of athlete if you grant it to everyone, because that's giving every person in the NCAA right now a redshirt year. Mm-hmm. So you're a sophomore, you missed the season, you got an extra year of eligibility. Are you gonna use that? You might go get your master's. So we're gonna see that is just gonna increase the amount of 5th years that we see in the future. It's also tricky because it trickles down into high school, because in college, you gotta think about it. Every coach, they're always looking for the next guy. They're always focused on recruiting. Yeah. So if you got a good guy that's gonna stay an extra year, or even a sophomore, junior, whatever, if they're gonna stay an extra year, that's an extra year you gotta pay for that scholarship. That's taking away a scholarship from a senior that didn't get to run his senior year. So there's a lot of layers to it, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how that affects the system.
It's really gonna trickle down for I feel like the next 4-6 years, to be honest, in NCAA, where it's just gonna be weird for all these athletes on trying to get money and trying to get scholarships, and it's gonna be interesting to see how this really all plays out.